We do not suffer by accident. This is a quote from the author Jane Austen, and I couldn't agree more, as I share my experiences on finding purpose in the pain. I'm the firstborn of 7 children, and both of my parents are from Ghana. The pain surrounding barriers to education is one my family has known for generations. I remember my dad telling us about how he had to trek for hours, often barefoot, to beg for the basics he needed in order to go to school. It was really hard to comprehend at the time, but I often look back and think about how different my life would have been if he hadn't overcome his obstacles of poverty and fought for his right to get an education. My dad was actually the first in my family line to learn to read and write and to go to school. So going down the line, I ended up growing on council estates across Camberwell and Peckham. And when I was growing up, South London wasn't the up-and-coming area that it is today. For many of the children I grew up with, education wasn't a priority at all. Let's just say they focused on other extracurricular activities. In a way to shield us, my dad would be very, very hard on us. He forced us to go to after-school clubs and after-school tutoring with my uncle. He would go on and on about how we were so privileged to live in the UK and how we had such amazing opportunities before us. It was clear to me that the pain of his past was propelling him to create a better future for us. Through his perseverance and persistence, and to be honest, my reluctant hard work, after doing a series of exams, I ended up securing a place within a prestigious boarding school. Now, my time at boarding school really opened my eyes to the harsh realities of life. It allowed me to see the beauty of life on one hand, and also the harshness on the other. Here I was in these classes, surrounded by all these wealthy kids who would talk about their weekends quad biking with their big brothers or their holidays abroad, and at this point, I'd never even left the country. I often felt isolated and second class, and one particular day stood out to me more than others. We went away as a school to play another school in a game of rugby. The game got very, very heated, and unfortunately, we ended up losing. As arguments went between the two teams, someone on my team referred to the other team as council estate scum, not realizing I'd grown up on a council estate myself. So this really hit me to the core, and I felt for myself it was the first time I could actually see the inequality in life. And I determined, even as a teenager, to one day be a part of the process that evens out the uneven playing field. Years down the line, I ended up working in the city as a senior recruitment consultant. And to be honest, I felt like I had made it in life. I was in my early 20s, and I was earning a lot of money. And then it dawned on me that I was becoming a lot like those snobbish kids that look down on other people. I realized that I began to tie my identity with how much I was earning, and I began to look down on other people just like those kids. I determined in my heart there and then that I had to make a change, and I had to wake up every day and live for purpose and not live just to make money. In the stumble to find my purpose, I reflected on my pain as a teenager and how I wanted to even out the uneven playing field. My wife and I had been supporting a charity based across Southern Africa called House of Wells, whose mission is to reach out to the lost, abandoned, orphaned, and the most vulnerable children in the region. We were so inspired by their work that we started supporting them every single month on a monthly basis. And then one day I just started scheming and dreaming and thinking about ways in which I could support this charity in a larger way. I started dreaming about ways in which I could support them in a more sustainable way than just my personal giving every single month. I'd always been really passionate about fashion. I'd always been really passionate about watches. So I thought, why not combine my passion for fashion with my passion for compassion? And in December 2015, I launched my watch brand, Vitae London. Vitae is Latin for life, and our whole mantra is to be the fashion brand changing lives. So with each watch we sell, we provide a child with a year's worth of school uniform to see them through school for a year. Before starting Vitae, there was about a process of about a year where I was contacting loads of different retailers, contacting loads of different factories to understand the market inside and out and to really understand what I was about to get into. When that year was done, I decided enough was enough. I sat down my wife and I said, hey, babe, I really want to leave this really well-paid job, bringing in all this money, and take our house savings to invest into a business and an industry that I have no experience in whatsoever. And luckily for me, she said yes. The journey so far has been such a beautiful struggle. We've been going for just under 2 years, and since launching, we've managed to distribute over 2,000 items of uniform to children in need. We've seen our work featured on the likes of CNN, the BBC, BuzzFeed. We've also managed to partner with the MTV African Music Awards, which was an amazing highlight. We've seen celebrities like Ava DuVernay and Emily Sandé and Richard Branson buy our watches and buy into what we do to the point that they share it with the world. But in the midst of all these high moments and these great moments that you see publicized on my social media all the time, there's been so many low moments. And I feel like in the midst of those low moments and the pain of those low moments, I've probably learned a lot more than I learned in the really great moments of success. So I would love to share a couple of key things that I've learned in my journey so far. The first key thing I want to share is that I would encourage everyone in the room, when starting a business, to live like no one owes you anything. I know this sounds very pessimistic, but bear with me. When I started my business, I feel like I had a bit of an attitude of entitlement. I knew it was a great idea, I knew I had a great product, so I just assumed people would just buy into what I was doing. I feel like with this social media generation, because we see the success on the surface level, and we don't see all the work that goes into actually making that business a success, we often feel like just as a flash of a pan, we can see our business do well. But one day, it actually dawned on me that my siblings, even my siblings or my cousins and those closest to me, they woke up in the morning, they got dressed, they went to work, they worked very hard to earn their money. So there was no way I could ever tell them what to do with that money. I had no right to have that attitude of entitlement to expect them to buy into what I was doing. And when that realization came to me, it was amazing, because it really opened my eyes to start being a lot more grateful when they did buy into what I was doing, because I didn't expect them to. And also, it pushed me to work a lot harder. I had to ensure the quality of my watches were as good, if not better, than my competitors, coupled with the fact that I wanted the price point to be, again, as good or if not better than them. I held focus groups, not just with a few of my friends, but I held focus group with external people so they can be brutally honest about the business. So I would really encourage everyone to live like no one owes you anything. The second thing I would love to encourage everyone with is to start small. Since starting the business, obviously we've had some great traction. We've seen some great awareness go out there. So people often come up to me and they're like, Will, I've got this amazing idea. I want to start this, I want to start that. And one particular girl came up to me and said she's got this phenomenal platform that she wants to start, which would encourage more women to get into the world of technology. And I was literally blown away by her idea. I kind of sat back, and then the first thing I said to her in response is, so what have you actually done so far? And like so many other people that I've met on the journey, she turned back to me and said she had done nothing. I feel like so many of us are so intimidated by the scale of our dreams that we end up doing nothing at all. But I would encourage everyone that if you can just take one step every single day, before you know it, you would have scaled a mountain. So in conclusion, I just want to ask everyone in the room, what pains you the most? What in the world agitates you the most? Because you might find your purpose within this. If I didn't look and seek for the pain in my life and the thing that I wanted to change the most, hundreds of children would not be in school today. Because remember this, we do not suffer by accident. Thank you.